Hello and welcome to Metal Vice, a podcast where we talk about all things music.
Well, the things we care about.
That's right, which is mainly metal music and live music. I'm one of your hosts, Brian, joined with your other host,
Karen.
Karen, what are we talking about in this episode?
We're going to talk about the Who at the Vic Theater.
Yeah, this is the Hu and Asking Alexandria, a co-headlining tour, Psycho Thunder tour. The openers were Bad Wolves and 0936, except for Bad Wolves, they had some kind of issues and they couldn't come. So
I was going to listen to that Instagram thing, but
to figure out why it
yeah,
happened.
I think it was tour issues, because like in the comments people were basically like, oh, tour costs are high, or like they either had like bus issues or something.
Yeah, luckily we got to see them earlier this year with Volbeat.
We did,
I was
yeah.
excited to see them again. It was a little disappointing when we got there and realized like, oh shit, they're already tearing down 0936 and they're getting set up for like one of the other two bands. So this is kind of weird, but all right.
Yeah.
And then you looked up Instagram there and saw that. But so it was a little disappointing, but you know, shit happens. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's just kind of weird that this has happened quite a few times to us lately, like where we aren't aware that the band isn't performing.
Only one other time this year,
Oh.
right? Like it was at what do you call it? Hogfest with Falling in Reverse.
They
dropped out.
canceled. Yeah.
But
I thought there was a couple other times where, well, I know last year we had 2 times with Iron Maiden and Trivium, and then
Ghost and Mastodon.
But I thought there was some other time this year that we were like, oh, I thought they were going to be there. What's the red one up there?
That's Falling in Reverse.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I just thought that there was another time where we were like, oh, I thought that they were going to be here, and then they weren't.
I don't know. I think we've been pretty good at it lately. The one other thing that was disappointing that happened this time or this year was the cancellation of Ginger, which was like a week or so before. But that's
right, but that's
something
the entire
different.
tour. Yeah, they postponed it. So yeah.
Yeah. So
anyways,
yeah.
whatever.
Psycho Thunder tour said that in Chicago. This was at the Vic Theater. Originally, it was supposed to be at the Riviera. Got moved to the Vic. Tickets were $48 with $16.74 in fees and $6.53 in tax. Got a physical ticket, and part of that fee is the physical ticket cost that we picked up at Will Call. So kind of explains the higher fee rate there for that. Bad Wolves were there. By the time we saw this show, we had seen every single one of these bands.
Yes. Yep.
You were just super pumped to see the Who again because you loved them after last year.
Yeah. Well, last year we saw them at the Hollywood Amphitheater, which is now Credit One
Amphitheater. Yeah.
Amphitheater. Sorry, it's changed its name so many times. And the one in Tinley Park. And at that show, we ended up going to sit on the lawn.
Yep.
So we were watching it from the screen. It sounded phenomenal. It was just watching on the screen. You're only watching. I mean, it makes sense, but you're only watching what the camera is showing you. And so I was super excited because I wanted to see the traditional instruments and see, like just see them perform, see them on stage. So I was super excited for that. And I like the Hu music.
Yeah, it's Mongolian metal. So very traditional Mongolian instruments. Some vocal styles, very traditional as well, I assume. Really cool to see, really unique and new and different that you don't really hear that often. Which we said this a lot. We like the non-English speaking acts,
like the native acts, where they sing in native language as well as like play traditional
or just like non-traditional metal instruments. Helvetia is another really good example of this, where it's unique, it's new, it's different. Like you don't see this that often, so it just adds a little bit extra to the show.
I think anytime that I see a band that's playing metal that's not using
just bass and guitar and drums.
Yeah, exactly. Like Apocalyptica, I really, really like. Helvetia, I really, really liked. The Who. Now I just named all 3 of them that I know. But
Rammstein, your traditional, they're your traditional metal band, but all in German.
German, yeah. It's fun to pick up or to hear something that's not what you see mainstream.
Yeah, and to your point of like just bringing other instruments in.
Yeah.
Korn does this with the bagpipes from time to time. Puppet Show, Avatar with the trombone.
Yep.
Super really, like it's just a lot of fun to like mix it up a little bit and change up your act just a little bit. So I really enjoy those songs, and I agree. Like the Who's a big draw for me. I wanted to see that because of them.
Yeah. That was honestly the reason why I wanted to see this entire show.
Yeah, and that's a good point because, like I said, we've seen all these bands. We saw 0936 last year.
Yes.
Did not like the set. We came away like hating it. I think when we did our podcast, we're like, that really sucked type shit.
Well, that weekend, that week, we ended up going to see 3 Days Grace with Wage War and 0936. That was a impromptu. I was just Googling. We bought tickets that day. And so we really didn't even know who they were. But then the next day we saw Jairus Johnson with Evanescence and Korn.
And both of those acts, Jairus Johnson and 0936, we had like a similar vibe when we left.
Did.
Like, this is...
Yeah, so I think from my memory, 0936 it has the rap element, but then I also thought that it was more of like the backing track, like what Jairus Johnson was. But this time I don't remember hearing that.
Yeah, and that's a good... let's dive into 0936 then let's just dive into 0936.
Okay.
Because we had shit come up with work and we weren't able to get to the show as early as we wanted to. We knew 0936 was going to be the first band, and we were like, whatever, we're going to be a little late, we're going to miss it. We didn't like the set the first time or when we saw them last year, and we didn't enjoy it. It's fine if we skip this.
I'm glad we didn't wait too long since Bad Wuss wasn't there.
So we ended up coming in late. We saw the last like 2 or 3 tracks of 0936. Let's also, we're jumping around here a little bit here, but why don't you tell us what the set list was?
Yeah.
Or that.
So they started with The End, Stuck in My Ways, Break, The Fear, In My Hands, Self-Destruct, Adrenaline, and they ended with I'm Not.
Yeah, and we showed up late, so we're not sure what track we came in on because we don't know the music that well.
Yeah, we probably heard 3 or 4 songs though.
Well, so another thing also, at the end of the set, he's like, normally you'd have 3 more songs, but I'm going through a bit of a throat issue or head cold or something, so I can't really...
Oh, that's true. So what set list are you using?
So that's another thing, right? We couldn't find the set list for all of these acts in Chicago, so these are from past shows other than the Chicago show.
So this is from Minnesota.
Yep.
I do, because I think he ended on Adrenaline.
He may have. So we didn't get the whole set. We showed up late, but I remember when we first walked in, we were both like, oh, this isn't actually half bad.
Yeah, like, is this how we remembered them?
Why didn't we like this? We were talking in between sets of... It's all 0936 and Jairus Johnson, right?
I think, yeah.
And both of those were the first openers of those shows we went to, back-to-back nights in Denver. And we were both like, that really sucked. They both sucked. Fuck that. We don't like that music. We didn't add it in our playlist last year. I'm not going to add it to the playlist this year for many reasons. We weren't there for all of it. And we weren't there for all of it. Yeah, mainly that. And so that kind of helped our decision for not going in, right? We're like, we didn't like it, blah, blah, blah. Said that already. But afterwards, we're like, that wasn't actually half bad. The rapping I did remember once he started rapping, and it's like, I think that was the thing I didn't like. The rapping is fine. It's not great rapping, and it just feels weird in the song. So I'm like, I don't like this.
Like, I remember when we did the podcast last year, I think we were like trying to give it a genre or give it like a space within metal music. Because, I mean, you get the metal, I'm saying metal tones, but you get the metal aspect of it.
You definitely get like the backing of the metal. Like the guitar, the drums are very metal centric.
Yeah. And again, there's no bass, if I remember right.
I don't think so. I didn't see one that
guitar
night.
And so I wonder if there is a backing track with
maybe for the bass
tones.
Part, yeah.
But anyways, so, and I remember last year being like, well, it's not really new metal because it doesn't have that new metal sound, but they're rapping. So is there like a new, say I'm using the word new, but not NU, but like NEW, like a new
form of metal,
a new form of metal coming out. And that's what I was saying last year, because we saw Jairus Johnson and 0936 back to back, and they were both like bands that were like, we have not heard music like this. But granted, at that time we had not seen 50 shows in 1 year. So
I don't know. I don't know. I'm really bad with genres in general.
Me too. I'm horrible at it.
Yeah, I can't remember what we were talking about last year, but yeah, it's definitely different from a lot of the stuff we've heard for sure.
But from what we did hear this year, like the 2 or 3 4 songs, whatever we heard, I remember really enjoying it. Like, I remember even like banging my heads I have 2 heads. I remember banging my head a couple times and everything. Like, maybe just our perception of music has changed in the last year. Maybe,
I don't know. I think it was seeing Jairus Johnson being really down on that and being like, I also did not enjoy, at least for me anyway, I also did not enjoy 0936 to me, they were lumped together. Therefore, I don't like both of them.
Yeah.
But seeing just 0936 and not having any other, and having a little bit more knowledge of what to expect going in, even though I remembered nothing, but I knew I didn't like it.
Yeah.
So going in, like, I'm not going to enjoy this. And then being surprised, like, oh, I actually enjoyed this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still not my favorite thing, not something I'm going to seek out.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But at least now I'm more willing to give them a second chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or third chance now, because this second chance, we came in late, and it's like, oh, I'm kind of disappointed we did show up late now.
Yeah.
Because I would have, like, I wanted to see the whole set and experience the whole thing to see if that's true all the way through, or just from that moment that we walked in the middle of the set and then heard till the end.
Right.
If that, like, there's something there that this time around, I have a better positive takeaway than I did the first time.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say other than, like, it was better than expected, and it's something I'm now excited to see again.
Yeah, because I remember when these I have the exact same thought, because I even remember when we bought these tickets, I was like, I do not want to go for the first or for the opener, and I don't say that ever. So I was just like, we don't need to go, and then work shit happened, so we ended up not going as early. But anyways, but I have the same thought where I'm like, well, if they're on a bill again, like, I'm gonna go and see them, check them out again.
But I think they were also announced last year or for the next coming Shiprocked.
They were last year on Shiprocked, and
we saw that and like, that would suck.
Yeah. But
there's so many other bands, whatever. We could probably skip that if we were on that tour, or on that boat. But I don't know. Now looking back, like, oh, I'll check that out again. So I don't know. Again, as we both said, second impression actually helped us change our mind a little bit toward them.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe that's a lesson, like if a band doesn't catch your fancy the first time.
So I think that's going to be a theme, because that's going to lead into Asking Alexandria.
Actually, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we saw Asking Alexandria last year at Hogfest as one of the openers.
Yes.
And I remember knowing of them, but not ever listening to their music.
Right.
And they go on, they start playing, and being very disappointed in their set. It's like, this is
at Hogfest.
Boring. I don't enjoy this music. It's not something I enjoy. Like I just said, that I don't like this music. Definitely very radio friendly style music.
Yeah. Especially what they played at Hogfest was very radio.
It's very, at least I don't remember what they played. I don't pull up that set list.
Well, from what we heard anyways.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It
felt very not that heavy.
Yeah.
Very light, very radio friendly.
Yeah. I was going to say, but they also came off of Wage War, which I felt like was heavier than Asking Alexandria. You don't like Wage War, but I felt like that had more energy and everything. And then you get Asking Alexandria that was just like, we play them on the Hog. So
yeah, and In Flames was before them too, which was supposed to be heavy. And it was heavy, but yeah, I don't know. It just felt weird to me on that. Like, it went from In Flames, Wage War, Asking Alexandria, and their set that night just felt slower than the other two, for sure.
But anyways.
But I remember leaving that being like, I did not enjoy Asking Alexandria.
No, yeah. I think I even said, like, we don't need to put them on the playlist.
I ended up putting them on.
You did, yeah.
And then we had gotten it prior to that show, I think, but they had a live recording, I think it was, for Record Store Day.
Okay.
So we got the vinyl for that. And either we got that prior or after. I can't remember exactly when we got what Record Store Day that one was for.
Okay.
But we listened to that after this show. Because I remember you being like, who is this? I was like, this is Asking Alexandria. And like, this does not sound, it's not what I remember.
I kind of remember that day, of being like, that's not what they sounded like at Hogfest.
And I was the same way. I was like, that is not what I remember from Hogfest either. So going into this, I was more open to this performance than I was 0936, because I knew I didn't,
going in.
Yeah, because I didn't like the live performance, but I liked the live album. So there's something in there. Maybe it was just that particular set list they put together. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Also, I did not expect them to be next.
I know, yeah.
It's a co-headlining show, and I'm really liking that bands are doing co-headlining shows, and I'm especially liking that both bands get full set lists.
Yes.
And it seems a lot of them are flipping who's the headliner. Depending on what city you're in, what venue you're doing, who fits the bill a little better that particular night. Who needs a break? Who doesn't? I don't know. But I love that they are flipping it back and forth, and you kind of don't know who you're going to get, and maybe you can guess depending on where you're at.
Yeah. I like it too, and I think I like it most because of the full set list instead of because generally it's like 25 minutes for the opener, 45 minutes, and then you get like an hour and a half or whatever. And I, especially for bands that I really like, if you're in that middle slot, it's like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
So to get a full set list is really cool.
Hour 10, hour 15 for both bands.
Yeah.
Perfect time. Yeah. It's a lot. I'm liking this a lot. But why don't you start us off with the set list we have? And again, this is a set list not from Chicago, but a different show right around the same time.
Yeah, this is from Minnesota as well. So they started with The Violence, Alone Again, Breathless, Killing You, Bad Blood, Moving On, Dark Void, Into the Fire, Where Did It Go, To the Stage, A Prophecy, The Final Episode, Let's Change the Channel. And then at this show, they did an encore with Let Go and Alone in a Room, which I'm trying to remember at the Vic. Did they go off for a second and then come back?
They did. They did take a little bit
of
like step off, step back.
Yeah, so maybe that's the encore thing. So,
and again, like, we don't know their music that well, so I don't know if this is 100% accurate. It's probably very close if it's not 100% accurate to what they played at the Vic. But yeah, they came out and were fucking hard right off the bat. Yes. I liked it so much. I got really fucking into this.
Yeah. So they mentioned a few times that they were doing like, it's been 15 years since they became a band.
Yeah.
If I remember right. And they were like, oh, so we're going to play some old stuff, some new stuff,
everything from our catalog.
From everything. So, and like you mentioned, I don't know their music either. So I don't know what's old, what's new. But I'm wondering if that's the difference from when we saw them at Hogfest, like if it was more like the popular songs versus this where it's like
that. It could be that very well could be, because you don't have a headlining slot. You have, like you said, 40 minutes. They went on right before I think it was Godsmack that year.
Yes.
So they went on right before Godsmack. It's like you have 40 minutes to quickly play your top songs.
Right.
But those top songs still would have been in here too. I just don't know. But maybe the other harder stuff, you could then sprinkle that in to like break up the monotony of like a repetitive, slow sort of set.
Yeah. Which
again, there were some slow elements here for sure in this set, but coming out super fucking hard and just staying hard for a while, and then you can throw those softer, slower songs in. I don't know. I got into the performance right away, and it stuck with me the entire time, and I was like, this is fucking awesome. I had so much fun watching this.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I enjoyed it way more, because even when we went to the show, because I also had work shit that I had to do after work or after the concert. So in my mind, I was like, okay, we'll go see Bad Wolves, The Who. We'll stay for a part of Asking Alexandria. We'll leave. Like, so that was already my thought going in. But then when Asking Alexandria was second on the bill, I was like, well, we're staying for the whole thing because I'm not leaving for The Who. So, and I know I didn't mention that to you, but I was like going to see how the night was going and then get ready to leave, be like, hey, I'm ready to go, or like, I need to get home sort of thing. So, but I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah, even if they were second, I don't know, or even if they were the headliner, I don't know if I would have been super cool, because it was just such a good performance.
Right. I was going to say the same thing. Like, I don't know if I would have left, because it was so much better than. Right. I'm saying like this was before we went and before we saw them.
I know what you were saying.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it was just so much better than what I remember it being.
No, for sure. And like I said, came out hard. They had very good stage performance, bouncing all over the place, back and forth. You usually come out with your bass on one side, your drum on the other, or bass on one side, your
the drum just moves around.
Yeah, bass on one side, guitar on the other. But a lot of bands have good stage performance where they move back and forth, and they were doing that a lot. So it was really awesome to see. They owned the stage. It was so fucking good.
Yeah, I don't remember when we saw them at Hogfest, the like deep growl and the deep bass and all of that, which I really, really enjoy. So I'm glad that was part of this show versus.
And I saw you looking stuff up. Were you looking up the set list for the Hogfest?
Yeah.
And they were there, right?
They were there, yeah.
See, I'm already questioning, like,
was Wage War, Asking Alexandria, 3 Days Grace, and then Godsmack.
In Flames was there too.
In Flames, yeah. Sorry.
You skipped over In Flames.
Yeah, I just skipped over them. I started with Wage War, but I think we were saying that it was Wage War, Asking Alexandria, then Godsmack, but 3 Days Grace was in between that, which I remember now.
Oh, 3 Days Grace was there too?
Yeah, I remember that.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So it was like 5 bands?
Yeah, it was 5
And there
bands.
was one band we missed all together at the beginning.
In Flames, we only came in with the last song.
We saw all of In Flames, I think.
No,
there was a woman show, there was a woman lead before In Flames went on. And we came in late for that. And then we saw all of In Flames and boom, 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 boom.
I don't remember that.
I do. I remember that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyways. But yeah, so I was looking at the set and there's a lot of differences.
Are there? What did they have that time?
So they had Alone Again, Antisocialist, They Don't Want What We Want, The Violence, Where Did It Go, Into the Fire, Down to Hell, Moving On, and they ended with Alone in a Room. So there's like
a few,
only 3 songs that they played. Oh, 4.
The Violence, I think you said Killing You, Moving On, Alone.
And Alone in a Room.
Wasn't there one
and
Into the Fire?
Yeah.
But I mean, there were still other songs that they didn't play for sure.
Right. But that's what I'm wondering. Like, I don't know the songs, but I just wonder if like the other 4 songs on that playlist were like, or that set list were more like mellow.
That or a new album came out, so you're promoting the new album with those other tracks.
Maybe.
Again, we don't know their music all that well, if at all, really. But the live performance, 2 completely different live performances over 2 shows, and this particular live performance I thought was miles ahead of the one we saw last year.
Me too. Yep.
So I'm very, very curious to see them again as well. Super excited to see how that one falls. So like you were saying, like maybe the lesson is don't let one performance jade your opinion.
Yeah.
I think that's 100% accurate that 0936 and Asking Alexandria, we went in, this isn't going to be as good as we would like, but walking away being like, that was phenomenal. Really good performances.
Yeah. I think that's something that we've really learned over the year as well. Or how long have we done this? I mean, right now, it's been, as of recording today, we started the podcast, or we started posting the podcast a year ago yesterday.
Oh, was it a year ago as of yesterday? Okay.
I think. Or was it October 2nd, the first time we posted?
I don't know what it was.
Anyways.
Roughly a year ago from this recording of this, our first episode went live.
Yes.
And we had been seeing shows leading up to this, like getting stuff prepped and just practicing and whatnot, doing.
Oh, yeah. We have a lot of recorded that we never posted.
Yeah.
But anyways, so basically what I was going to say is like in the year that we've been doing this, we've really, 1, we've changed our mind on new bands. And then 2, we've learned, don't just take one performance.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff we've seen this year, I don't know. We've seen a lot of new stuff this year. We have seen a lot of repeat stuff this year. 3 Days Grace being one of them for sure. This entire show being all repeat bands.
Yep. There's a lot of repeats on there, or from this whole year, but a lot of new.
But I think most of the shows we go to are net new bands. I would say the vast majority are net new bands that we go to. It's rare that you go to a show anymore, at least for us, or it was for a while. You go to something where it's everything you've already seen live before. This might have been the first one, honestly, outside of... Yeah, I'm struggling to think of one.
Yeah, one where you've seen all the openers and everything.
Yeah, all the openers and the headliner.
Yeah, this might be the first one, actually.
Let's go back and look. But
yeah. That's interesting. I never even thought about that like... Because there's a lot that like we might know 2 of the like I'm thinking 3 Days Grace and Chevelle, but we'd never seen Loathe.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. There's a lot.
Dancing was Dancing. He was the new one in that show.
Oh yeah, because we never seen Dancing. Yeah.
Corey Taylor, Oxymoron's Orgasm. We had seen all 3 of those, but that was this year.
But we never seen Corey Taylor play.
We've never seen Corey Taylor's own set.
We've seen him play Stone Sour and Slipknot, but not as Corey Taylor. I don't know. We don't need to go through our whole year.
But it doesn't.
But that's very interesting. Yeah.
It's very rare that you see something where you see all the bands you've seen again. Like that's why I love going and seeing the openers, is because you find out new shit.
Oh yeah.
And that's usually where your new stuff comes from. Very rare that you go and see a headliner for the first time and be like, oh, that's your first time seeing them live, at least for us anyway.
Oh, we've done that a lot this year though.
Maybe. Anyway, we don't need to
Yeah.
get into all of that. Otherwise, we're going to be sitting all night here just looking at all the past shows. Yeah.
Going through our concert
This one
list.
follows this criteria. This one follows this criteria. Like, no.
Just go back and listen to our episodes.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about Asking Alexandria is I went in with one thought, left with a drastically other one that was a phenomenal show.
Yeah.
Great stage performance and sound. So, yeah.
I would agree.
Sweet.
So first, whenever I say The Who, everybody thinks
The Who.
The Who.
Yeah.
But no, it's The Who.
Yeah, I kind of had that same sort of struggle of The Who, and then like, nope, not that Who, the other Who.
Yeah, because nobody knows about The Who, HU, but everybody knows The Who, WHO.
A more widely known band for sure.
Yeah.
So when you say The Who, everybody's like, oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know them.
Yeah. If you watch CSI, you know who The Who is.
Yeah, exactly. That's every theme song for CSI.
Yeah.
Why don't you start us off with the set list?
Okay, first, before I go into the set list, if I mispronounce something, I apologize. I know one language and I barely know it, English. Second, Brian will put the songs on the screen with the correct spelling and I guess not pronunciation because we don't know. So I apologize. They started with Shahi Hutu, Shog Huchu, Zeron. I'm going to say the Greg. I'm sure that's not right. The Garrig, maybe? The Garrig. Ute, Hovende, Tatar Warrior, Upright Disdained Mongol, Mother Nature, Black Thunder, Through the Never, which is a Metallica cover, UVU, Wolf Totem, and then This Is Mongol, and then they ended with Sad But True, another Metallica cover. So I apologize. That was horrible pronunciation.
Yeah, again, another band where we said this at the beginning. I love this music so much.
Oh yeah, me too.
The uniqueness of the instruments with the vocals, the traditional aspect, it's just melded on top of metal. It's so much fucking fun.
Yeah, I really like how the vocals come in and it's part of the music, which I've said that so many times this year of doing this, but with like how they, I mean, it's not even humming, but it's like how they.
It's like the vocal throat, like singing, like yeah.
But when that comes out, and then that's just part of the music, along with the lyrics that are being sung by the lead vocalist as well.
So yeah, like I said, I like the music a lot. I just after like the third song, fourth song or something, it kind of got a little repetitive for me.
Oh, okay. You can have that opinion.
But it turned around after that. But like 2 or 3 songs were sort of very, to me, repetitive, just back to back to back to back. Similar sort of musical style, the same way they're using the instruments, same style, like obviously same style of singing and whatnot, and like the traditional aspect. But the songs just sounded very, very similar to me. But then after that, then they started getting a lot more. A lot more. I don't want to say character, but a lot more.
Unique aspects to each song.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I didn't even feel that, so I didn't pick up on that. Every single song seemed unique in my opinion. Yeah, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, they were just like I said, there were small parts in between all of them that were like, oh, that sounds very familiar to what you've already done, what you've already used. And again, like maybe off their first album, you're gonna have some similar tones and whatnot between all the songs. And we brought this up a little bit with Chevelle, where all of their early songs were very repetitive, sounding very, very familiar also.
Yeah.
But it was even before we get to Black Thunder, but I don't know exactly where, but after like maybe the 5th song or 6th song, then it's like, okay, there's more going on with these particular songs from here and whatnot. But even though it was a little repetitive, I felt a little repetitive. I still really fucking enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The stage performance was awesome. Seeing all of them up there with their instruments. There's a lot of fuckers in this band. There's like...
Yeah, I was trying to just think about that right now. Because you have the traditional drums.
Yep.
And then you have traditional metal drums. Like a drum set.
Yep.
And then you have a bass and a guitarist.
Yep.
And then you have 2 people playing traditional Mongolian instruments.
Like almost upright basses, but like 2 strings and a bow. I
was trying to Google really quick what it's called, but I don't even know what to put into Google it. But so with horsehair bows, which I remember from when we saw them at Tinley Park. The camera did zoom in on that quite a bit, and I was like, oh, that'd be so cool to see like up front and live, or like actually see them or whatever. Okay, so where are we? Then you have a lead vocalist. I'm at 7, so I'm missing a couple.
You have another bassist or guitar player that kind of hung back, so 8. So you have the 2 drummers, 3 traditional metal instruments, the bass, the guitar, the electric bass guitar, then your 2 traditional Mongolian instruments, and then your singer. So 8 is what I typically counted.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, because there's 4 up front, a guitar, the 2 Mongolian instruments, the vocalist, and then in the middle you had the guitar and bass, and then the 2 drummers.
3 in the back, yeah.
Yeah, so 8. Okay, so we did some Googling because this is how we do our podcast. So one of the guitars that we thought was like a traditional guitar, they were actually on... You're better
one
at
of the sides. I don't know what side they were on, either stage right or stage left, or if this was the guy who was on stage left behind next to the drums.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure the traditional is like in the front row.
All traditional ones?
I think so.
Okay, maybe.
But anyways,
yeah.
So one of them plays a guitar-like instrument that's called a tovshur. It's Tovshur. So Google that if you want to look at it. But it's basically, it looks like a guitar, but traditionally. And when you go to Wikipedia, they actually have the Hu pictured as an example of the instrument. And then the other, what we were saying looks like a bass.
The upright bass.
The upright bass is a Morin Kerr.
Morin Kerr.
It's Morin space Khur. So that's more of like the upright bass, which has like the horsehair bow and everything.
Yeah, and there's other instruments as well, like obviously the throat singing. There's like a mouth harp that was almost played once.
Oh. And the vocalist had a flute.
The vocalist had a flute. He was the one who played like the little mouth harp thing. And
did he
got,
also?
Like, the
oh, yeah. Oh, it's a jaw harp.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I've seen somebody play that before on like YouTube.
Oh, really?
He's like, just put it. It's really kind of cool. It can make some really cool sounds. I completely didn't realize that until he was playing. I was like, oh shit, that's how they made that sound.
Oh.
But
I got to look him up on YouTube.
So fucking awesome. And then you mix all of that together with like the traditional Mongolian, like just the vocals in Mongolian. Yeah. It's so fucking awesome to see. And like then once again, just that metal element of just like the tones and the speed that you're playing and all the like the metal aspects that you get to bring it into like metal music. So much fun to see. The closest thing I said this earlier, the closest thing I can compare it to is Helvetia.
Yeah. Which to compare that, even Wikipedia has the Hu as folk metal and Helvetia is also
folk metal.
So I wonder if that's just like you bring in your traditional aspects of your culture and then that becomes folk metal.
Yeah, and I mean, like your lyrical style, not necessarily your style, but the lyrical content itself, going back to like old mythology and old, and by old I mean like folklore. That's where I'm saying old because folklore.
That's okay.
But your mythology, your stories you've told over time as children, just kind of grown up in the region as like this is a story to tell. So like bringing that in on top of the music, and then if you bring in the lyrics in that particular tongue. Really fucking cool. I love that.
Yeah. Even when they played Sabbath True and
Through the Never.
Sorry, I forgot what the 2 they played. They sang in Mongolian, which was really cool. Do they do that on the Blacklist?
They do. It's all in Mongolian.
That's awesome.
Wolf Totem, they have an English version where somebody, I can't remember who comes in.
Yes, I remember seeing that.
And then Black Thunder have English backing vocals come in or do like the chorus and whatnot, or even sing the entire thing in an English version, which is kind of cool. I do enjoy that, but I don't like those versions as much.
I think I would agree. Black Totem let's say I've put them together. Wolf Totem I have heard the English, and I think that's the one that I see more. I think I have it on YouTube maybe.
It's definitely the older of the 2 songs. Black Thunder's newer, so
yeah. But what I'm saying is like I think I searched it out once on YouTube, so it comes up every once in a while. Like, listen to this. And whenever I see it, I'm like, yes, I will. Thanks. But I like the English version, but I think what you're saying also is I like the native Mongolian
the non-English version better.
Yeah, the Mongolian version better. So.
And I did wonder that throughout the set when they started playing Black Thunder and Wolf Totem, like, is Asking Alexandria going to come back out and play with them?
That would have been interesting.
It would have been interesting. Would have been kind of cool, maybe a little fun, but also I completely understand them not coming out and doing it.
Yeah.
And I was completely fine with them also not doing that. So one thing I noticed during the Who's performance, the crowd kind of thinned out a little bit.
It did a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Chicago has a large Asian population as well. So to me, that explained why the Who maybe headlined this particular performance. Again,
maybe
bringing that up to what we were saying about co-headlining tours, flipping back and forth. There's a number of reasons you can do it. Going to a band's hometown is an excuse to put them on top of the bill. Going to a venue or a market, Chicago, the market of Chicago. I said that really weird. Going to a particular market, such as Chicago, with a large Asian population, you can probably drive more sales by saying the Who is going to close out for you. And toward the end, like I said, it thinned out a little bit, but there was a lot of Asian ethnicity in the crowd, which was fucking awesome to see. Even saw at least one person with the Mongolian flag, just holding it up like, yeah, let's go. This is, it's got to bring you so much pride to see like a band singing my native tongue and making it and touring the U.S. as a headliner. Like that's got to make you so happy as a Mongolian descent person or somebody who speaks the tongue naturally, right? Like,
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
it made me smile. Another thing I noticed is when we got there was an older gentleman in a wheelchair, and they ended up picking up and carrying him all the way down to the front row.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I should have noticed that.
The thing with the Vic is that it's like a tiered venue where you're on like one level, then there's a step down, another level, and a step down. They didn't use the super secret ramp to get you all the way down to the front for some reason. They just like, all right, we're going to pick you up and carry you on down. So that was kind of cool. I did enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, I didn't notice that, but that's really cool that they were able to get that person to the front. So we didn't even mention that we ended up getting rail for the Who.
Yeah, we all the way to stage left.
Yeah, we were like on the end, but I guess when we saw them in Tinley Park and I was like, oh, next time I want to be like in the pit to see them. And I even told you before this show, like, I want to be, like in the front area of the venue. Cause like you said, with the Vic, it's like 3 tiers and then there's even upstairs.
The balcony. Yeah.
The balcony upstairs. And I was just like, I want to make sure that I'm down in that first area just because I want to see the instruments. I want to see them perform. And the people that were on the rail left. So I'm just like, I'm gonna go stand there. Nobody else was, so I'm going to. But it was really cool to be right there because you can see even the dress. Like a lot of them have traditional dress and like traditional boots.
Everybody had the pointed boots that like came up at the end and pointed up.
Did you notice the vocalist has like flames on the back of his boots?
Not the flames, but I think his split out like a tongue, like a snake's tongue.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice that, but on the back they had flames as well.
I did not notice that. Yeah,
that's fun. The person next to me was zooming in and taking pictures of the boots.
Yeah. Another thing, like you just go with the traditional clothing, right?
Yeah.
Which just adds to the aesthetics of what you're doing. Yeah. Because it's not just listening to the music for live music. There is a visual component to it as well, right? So it's really cool when bands can do this sort of, I don't want to say costume, but sort of like we're going to dress this way.
Yeah.
So even though I say that, I remember during Omnium Gathering with Helvetia, they were all wearing like the jean.
Oh yeah, the jean jackets.
Oh that my part, gosh, I was like,
the jean jackets.
So to me, that's one where it didn't really play out that well.
Yeah.
But for the Who, like having similar clothing style to like bring in the whole Mongolian folklore and Mongolian folk, like just Mongolian culture, was super awesome to see.
Yeah, I think the other one that does it really well that we've seen multiple times is Bloodywood. Because they also have.
Yes.
Are they considered folk metal?
They are. They're a folk nu metal band.
Okay, yep. So with the traditional drums and everything, but then also 3 of them. Am I right? 3 of them wear traditional dress as well.
Yep. A number of them. I don't know how many, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the drummer doesn't. Raul doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I probably missed somebody because I think there's 6 members. Anyways, but yeah, so they wear a traditional dress as well. And that melds, I mean, it just brings you into the atmosphere of the music even more. And same with the Who. Like, just seeing the dress and everything just brings you in a lot more. Yeah.
It was really cool to hear Through the Never live and Sad But True live. I'm glad we got both of those instead of just one. But
I wonder if they're not headlining, if they do both of them.
Yeah, see, I don't know. Again, if you're not this setup of having 2 headliners allows you to have a larger, longer set list. Yeah. So maybe they actually do. I don't know.
Yeah.
In any case, a phenomenal show. So glad we went. So glad we got close to see everything.
I can't wait to see them again.
All the bands shocked me. I was very happy all night long. I was only going to go in thinking I was going to enjoy the Who and Bad Wolves, and then finding out Bad Wolves isn't going to be there. But 0936 put on a killer show. Asking Alexandria put on a killer fucking show, and Who came out and just owned the house, and it was fucking awesome.
Yes. I was pleasantly surprised when I left. So
yeah,
very, very, very good show.
Yeah, and as we said, the moral of the story, at least for us, was just when you have a bad experience with the band, doesn't mean don't go see them again.
Yeah, and don't be like they fucking suck.
Right? Yeah, that performance wasn't good. You didn't enjoy the music, but there's people there who enjoy it. Next time you see them, it could be a drastically different show, and you could fall back in love with this band.
Exactly.
So yeah, go see some live music, even if you've seen it before.
Yep. Bye.